What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinter Lens content every single day. We also stream right here in the channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, we have a spicy conversation that is going on in Mav chat right now on Discord, started by the one and only Mondroid. And shout out to Mondroid. I have a lot of respect for Mondroid, not just as a fantastic player, maybe one of the best players in the game, if not the best player, but just as a community member who has been providing a lot of feedback in terms of sharing information on what he's doing and not doing that's worked, and just somebody who generally cares about the longevity of the project. So, Mondroid opened up a can of worms here, talking about scholars and how scholars are becoming a problem. Now, Mondroid is saying this is somebody himself who is a scholar. If you're not familiar, he used to, or maybe still does, scholar for Clove's account. But let me just cut down here to the interesting part, okay? There are times in the Champ Martin queue is really slow, and there's only one top player in the queue with all their scholar accounts. As a 5,400 rated player, I'll beat the same 3,700 to 4,200, which is like the Champ 3, right? So the bottom level rated players over and over, which I know is ruining the experience for them to face all three of my accounts. Going actually up above this too, I've had a number of people approach me to play their account because they can't win anymore. I've had to turn them down, and now Ultims and Rukawa_Red, who I've not heard of before, are playing those accounts, so I know it's a real issue. Let me just come down here. The most infamous example of this is when Ultimus is playing, and anyone in the queue has to face his 4 accounts. People literally decide to wait for him to go to sleep before they feel like they can play and have any chance of winning. So this has sparked a ton of conversation, which, again, if you want to be involved in that, go check out Mav Chat. You can give your 2 cents there. I'm kind of staying out of the fray because it's easier for me to just come on here and share my thoughts with you guys in this nice safe space on YouTube. Okay, so here's the thing. I think Mondroid is bringing up an interesting place that the game is at right now, and I want to frame it as that because I don't think it's a long-term problem. I don't think that it is a scholar problem. I think it is a scholars right now problem, meaning that we just don't have a lot of players. We don't have enough players. We don't have enough players who are, at that top tier level to really make it interesting and for there to be more of a challenge, right? What we need is to have 100 more Mondroids and Ultims that can play in the 5,400 range so that the people in the 4,700 range, the 3,700 range are all playing against one another at whatever skill level. So this ultimately comes back to the same problem that has been plaguing us for years and the problem that Matt is committed to trying to solve, right? Matt and the team, and that is we don't have enough players. Now, we've solved for some of that in the lower leagues, right, with some of the bots. But, when you really think about this issue, there's not enough players. Like, this is an issue that covers the entire project, right? Literally everything in the project is suffering because of this. There's too much SPS. There's too many cards for the number of players. There's too much land for the number of players in this game, right? Match liquidity was becoming an issue because there's not enough players. And now you're seeing match liquidity at the higher levels really suffer, which is fascinating, right? Because we somewhat solved the match liquidity issues at the lower level with some of the bots that the team has put online. But are we going to just, somebody mentioned it later, are we just going to put bots at like the 5,700 rating? Or not 5,700, but you get what I'm saying, right? In Champion with like fully maxed decks, like that's not really solving the problem, right? Sure, they're not earning, but again, I don't know. This is just, it's such a difficult situation because there's like one solve that would help everything tremendously. But it's a chicken and the egg problem because we are not at this moment currently doing the things that are going to help solve that problem, right? We're kind of putting things in reverse. A lot of what the team is doing right now is to make it so that players don't necessarily come check out the game, but after they do check out the game, will want to stay. So I appreciate the long-term kind of planning and focus that's going into this, right? Because if the team had wanted to at the beginning of the year, they could have gone heavy on marketing, hired some crazy, marketer out there if that's what their plan is, and bring a bunch of people into the game to try and check things out and play things. But it wouldn't have been easy, right? It would have been difficult. It would have been confusing. The ranked was a different kind of mess before, right? And people might even argue that previous ranked was better. In fact, people are arguing that. So ultimately, it just comes down to patience and confidence or faith in what the team is trying to accomplish here. And I know that patience from many within the community is running thin. I just had a conversation with someone else today who's was around for a while and decided that this is it. They're selling out, right? Not because of the scholar issue, but there's too many opportunities. They're just too disappointed, and whatever the case is. So the player bleed is real. The team focus, I think, is good in the long run, but it's definitely not helping the situation now. And then we have something like what Mondroid is talking about. If the appeal is to get players to try and compete at the highest levels of the game, which should be the goal of literally any game, right? But especially here, you want people to try and max out their decks, play to the best of their ability. If they're just getting destroyed by, top tier players who are essentially bots no, I'm just kidding. They're not bots within themselves. They're not botting. I'm not trying to make that. I was just saying like they're as good as AI can potentially be. If they're going to dominate, it's just due to low player liquidity, right? When I look at this, is it a problem? Is it a big problem, right? So first, let's define it if it is a problem. I mean, yeah, clearly, right? It's ruining the experience for many people. Is it something that is a fundamental flaw within the game, though? I would argue not. And, Matt, I think, has been really, I don't know what the right word is. Conservative, isn't it? But he's been very long-term focused. And again, I admire that. I think that is a good way to go. It is in the sense of like not wanting to make knee-jerk reactions to and essentially like short-term solutions to temporary problems. He's trying to, squash this whole thing from the top down and just clear everything, which again, I think is the way to go, right? This is what we all want, is for new players to come into the game in mass. And it's just, we have to get there. We got to sit through this, all of the little bumps and hurdles in the road, of which I would probably include this, right? I would include this in the same way that I included like when, the first ranked update came out before the bots, or when the first Glint store update came up before they had a chance to really go in and add a bunch of other really cool items that we all liked, right? So these are all of the building blocks that the team is putting together. And again, I'm fully aware that what I'm essentially doing with this video is preaching patience to a group that patience ran out about a year ago. So this is not me trying to tell you what to do or hey, just hold on a little bit longer. I'm just trying to use that mindset, that understanding, which is just personal to me. I'm not prescribing it for you guys, but that mindset to diagnose where Mondroid is coming from. And I don't see it as something that needs to be taken action on right away, or at least, having some kind of knee-jerk reaction and solution. Because at the end of the day, like literally everything else in the game, it's one of those items that will be solved with new players coming in. And so, that day can't come soon enough. I mean, it's not even guaranteed. But obviously, the delay of, we were all hoping that it would be the summer. Now we're hoping by the end of Q3. So any time that this is going to get stretched out, all of the intermediate problems that we're going to run into, such as scholars, I shouldn't even say scholars, but like top scholars, such as, Glint and whatever, all the people, all the things people have been complaining about for the last couple of months here. We just got to sit through it. And some people won't, and that's totally cool, right? And some people will. And I don't want to shame anyone, nor do I want to lionize anybody, right? Like, it's not like diamond hands, right? And it's not like, oh, paper hands because they decided to leave. It's just preference. It's just preference, belief, confidence, whatever you want to call it. Maybe the sunk cost fallacy for many folks, right? So at this point, it is what it is. I do genuinely think this problem is not a problem that exists in a future that the team is trying to get to. And, that's maybe a couple months away, hopefully no more than that. But we'll wait and see how the team kind of reacts to this in the next town hall. So that's my thought on this. Again, I appreciate Mondroid taking a very critical eye to something that he's obviously benefiting from, right? And even going as far to label it as a problem. But to me, this is like a short-term hurdle rather than a problem or like a flaw within the game design. It's just the nature of where we're at right now. And I would say to someone like Mondroid, like, enjoy it, right? Enjoy it, because I know I want this, and I know Mondroid, if you listen to this, you want this too. You want 500 more people that are as good as you coming into the game and playing at that level, and you dropping down to a 50-50 win rate, right? Because what that would do for the rest of the project and the ecosystem and the tokens and the asset values would be phenomenal. So, to all the top players out there right now, enjoy it, because my hope, your hope, and I think everybody's hope is that day will come to an end at some point, hopefully this year. Fingers crossed. So that's all I have for you guys in this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.